state-of-the-art premium dealership makes Chevrolet of Troy your absolute best choice for your new Chevy. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the craftsmanship. Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today.
If you need new roofing, siding, or skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enon. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
You don't need a job site, you need a hiring platform. Indeed lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
And we are off and rolling here on a Monday. We welcome you in. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Happy Monday.
Good Monday to you, sir.
Let's see. What do we got? Well, the NFL draft is done.
Yeah.
Crap. Now what do we do? The schedule reveal. When does that come out?
That comes out sometime in June, I believe.
That's right, because the NFL dominates the calendar. That's good. So now we just got to fill some weeks. You know, a lot of PTO going to be used over the next, no, we have a ton to dive into here today. We're going to talk a little bit more Cincinnati Reds than usual. Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports. I'll catch up with him coming up here around the corner. The Cincinnati Reds have lost 5 straight. And I pulled some of these numbers. I thought this was interesting for a season that was supposed to be super exciting for a team that had a lot of promise, especially, with these young athletes with the bat in their hands. For the second time in their last 6 series, they have been swept. All right. They have been shut out 3 times since April 15th. They have 6 games of 1 run or less since April 15th. What the hell's going on? We're going to talk with Nick Kirby coming up here around the corner about what's going on in Cincinnati. And we have that coming up. NBA playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I thought for a stretch. Schedule releases this month. Producer Shaw chiming in.
Thank you, Shaw.
That was not a shot at you, Shaw. I promise. No, I thank you. I saw a graphic pop out for the schedule release, so I felt like it was coming up soon. Just wasn't sure when. But nonetheless, we got a ton to get into. What are we going into? Oh, yeah. The Cleveland Cavaliers fight off the Orlando Magic. I was all preparing the show for all this, man, this is going to be it for Donovan Mitchell. I said if they lose that series to Orlando, that's it. He is going to be gone. He will not be a Cleveland Cavalier next year. We could put off that at least for potentially one more series. Cavs, Boston, round 2.
Yeah, Cavs got at least 5 more games left. At least 5 more games left.
Boston in 5?
Yeah. I'm going to roll with Boston winning that series. But, in my mind, obviously the players on the team and, super duper diehard fans want them to continue to win and go to the NBA Finals and hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. Look, I am, for lack of a better word, content that they got out the first round. I wasn't pleased the way they got out of the first round. I was expecting the Cavs to win it in at least 6 games. They almost did that. Great performance from Donovan Mitchell in game 6 on the road versus Orlando, dropping 50. It just seemed like nobody wanted to come along for the ride. He scored more than half the team's points in that game 6. And I was super worried going into game 7 to be like, look, man, he left everything out there on the court. It's going to be the others that's going to bring us home if we're able to win that game. And my thought process going into the game was like, all right, this is the game. All the threes are going to fall. Everybody's going to hit threes. It's going to be a blowout. Donovan isn't going to have to even really break a sweat. I was wrong on that one as well. They found themselves down 18 points in the first half, and that 18-point deficit was a little bit different from a lot of other deficits that face the NBA nowadays. They just look so bad.
Dead in the water.
Dead in the water. Turnovers left and right. not rotating on defense. And one thing about this Cleveland Cavaliers team is they still play good defense. They were not playing good defense in that first half. I mean, Orlando was getting wide open threes. Orlando was one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA, and they were on fire. And main reason they were on fire is because they were super late on their rotations. They were going under on screens on guys that they shouldn't be going under on screens. They were not chasing out to the corner three-point shooters. But, you know, they found something. They found a spark from Karis LeVert late in the second quarter to cut that lead to 10 at half. And I was texting with everybody during the game. I was like, look, down 10 at the half, as bad as they played, I'll take it. Like, hey, just be down 5 going into the fourth quarter. And they found themselves up 4 points going into the fourth quarter. And they were able to extend that lead. Great performance from Donovan Mitchell. Great performance from Karis LeVert. Defensively, Evan Mobley was outstanding. Still need him to grow as an offensive player. But as of right now, I'm good. They've made it to the second round. They're going to take on the Boston Celtics and, you know, let the chips fall where they may.
Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. Again, we'll have more of the Cavs series coming up around the corner. We have a lot to dive into as far as that's concerned as well. But we'll kick off the show with a little what's trending, kind of what's going on in the world of sports, especially coming out of a very, very busy weekend. Are you a Kentucky Derby guy?
Yes and no. More no than yes. So my relationship with the Kentucky Derby goes to me going down there and just having fun and going to parties and kicking it. Not necessarily watching horses run around a track.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I like the Kentucky Derby. Don't get me wrong. In fact, I went for my bachelor party.
That's right.
We didn't go to the Derby. We were a little too poor to go to the Kentucky Derby, but we did the second best thing you could do at Churchill Downs, which is the opening weekend at Churchill Downs. In fact, the tickets that we had were like $25 to go to opening weekend, and to sit there and take it all in and whatever. But a week later, the Kentucky Derby, the same $25 tickets that we had were thousands and thousands of dollars. So yeah, judge me all you want. $25 to watch horses run around when I don't really know much about horse racing. I think that the Kentucky Derby is the most peer pressured sporting event out there, which means you just feel like you have to say you like it. You just feel when we're really just watching a bunch of horses just run in circles. We really have no idea. You think there's really not a whole lot of difference between that and NASCAR, except the difference is you get to wear ripped up jean shorts and cutoffs and drink your beer while you're at, a NASCAR event. But for this, a little hoity toity, right? You an excuse to get dressed up, excuse to, dress fancier than you usually do, buy extremely overpriced beer. The mint juleps are, that was almost like $15 a cup, a small cup, a commemorative cup. You get to take it home with you, so whatever. If you hold on to that, don't break it by the end of the night, more power to you. But look, that's all about the hoity-toity ritziness of it. I bet you half of those people don't even know anything about horse racing, but they're going because the peer pressure of, well, everyone else is going.
Yeah, it's a look at me event. It's an event for the celebs. It's an event for the elite. You can take your pictures like you talked about. You can dress up, look all nice, and have a good time. It's all about the kicking it.
So with that, Mystic Dan wins the Kentucky Derby. For those of you out there who are on the edge of your seat wondering which horse won, there you go. That horse won, Mystic Dan. But nonetheless, the 150th Kentucky Derby, Kev, averaged 16.7 million views. It's the largest audience since 1989. Wow. And at one point, it reached 20 million views, which is the highest peak in the history of the Derby. So enough people found enough interest in a bunch of horses running in circles. 20 million to be exact, had enough interest.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of that also had to do with so many other states being able to bet on the apps nowadays.
Yeah.
So you place your little wager and then you tune in. I mean, shoot, the race lasted about 2 minutes? So yeah, absolutely.
And the thing that's funny about that, so when me and all the guys went down for my bachelor party to go to opening weekend at Churchill Downs 2 years ago, everyone was just sitting there placing the bets on their phone. I'm like, no, we can do that at home. I was like, we'll go into the ticket window. If I'm going to lose my money, I want to go physically make eye contact with the person that knows I'm about to lose my money. And that's what we did. My best friend, Dylan, him and his family, they went on a family vacation. I think it was over in Tennessee somewhere, but it rained the whole time. So they really couldn't do anything outside. But they had a big theater in the house that they were staying at. So you get on a little FanDuel app or whatever it is, whatever app. I might have just been the Churchill site. I'm not really sure. But you can watch and bet on the horses live. So you can literally, they just popped up the horse races up on the screen and we're betting live, just sitting in the theater. A lot of cool stuff you could do with the app. Indeed. But when you're there, get your ass up, go to the betting window, place the bet there.
Hopefully you win.
Hopefully. That's always the goal. Next up, what's trending? How about this? The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice.
Ah,
That is the newest bowl game will be added to the slates coming up this upcoming college football season. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice. Kev, it is the first bowl ever sponsored by an alcoholic brand.
Not surprised that Snoop has taken his talents to Arizona, as he tweeted out earlier today. I mean, Snoop has his hands in everything. I mean, from gas grills to marijuana, obviously to music.
Getting choked up.
I don't know what it is, man.
But,
So emotional. Carl
I'm,
Thomas.
I'm just really disappointed that Miller Lite already has, or Miller, the Miller High Life. I'm just so disappointed that they've already used some of those. I mean, that would have been a perfect branding statement for Snoop Dogg, nonetheless. But yeah, you're talking about all his branding.
Yeah, I mean, working with Martha Stewart. I mean, you can't turn on the TV without seeing a Snoop commercial. So this is no surprise that Snoop's love for football, he's now involved with a bowl game. It's pretty cool.
All right, moving on to this. And again, by the way, with all the wild and just random bowl games out there, I mean, at least this one, if you're going to not be I mean, look, in one of the 100 playoff games that are going to be played next year, if you're not good enough to be in one of those and you got to play in a pointless bowl game, I mean, fingers crossed, I'm at least going to get to play in something that's associated with Snoop Dogg at least. So there's that. Nonetheless, how about this, Kev? What's trending? Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio here on a Monday, off and rolling. J.J. Watt said he would be willing to come out of retirement to join the Texans only if they absolutely need it. He texted and had a conversation with Coach D'Amico Ryan saying, hey, he'll be ready. If you absolutely need me, I'll be ready. He's been working out as if he's ready to go. Thing is, why haven't they called him? I mean, you could say you don't need him, but I mean, can you actually say you don't need J.J. Watt? Now, to be fair, this isn't the J.J. Watt of, I get, 6-7 years ago, but his last season in the league was still, he was still producing. So who knows? But interesting nonetheless.
Not surprising at all, because I don't remember him saying that about 2 years ago when Mills was the quarterback. Now that CJ Stroud is a quarterback and he's seen him have a year underneath his belt. He didn't say this at the beginning of last season when he was a rookie. Now he saw the proof in the pudding. Hey, man, I'm here if you need me. Maybe you can get to the bowl. Maybe I'll get me a ring. If you need me, only if you need me, though. Like at the back end of the season, like, when we got a playoff spot already clinched. That type of need me, not during the regular season, not where all that other hard work comes involved. Only if you need me.
Yeah, and if he comes back, I don't think that's going to be the addition that kind of tilts the scales more in their favor. Look, the Houston Texans are going to be the favorite to win that division. This would be a nice cherry on top, but I just think it would be kind of cool to see a name from the previous regime kind of come in and benefit from the fact that they've got things turned around so quickly. Nonetheless, next up, Joe Burrow has returned to the practice field. In fact, he returned to the practice field earlier today, Kev, and for the first time. This is the first time he's been out there throwing passes since, of course, his season-ending injury last year. But nonetheless, that's good news for Bengals fans to see Joe Burrow. Not good fans for Kev. Not good. Not good news for Kev. Not good news for me as a Browns fan, but good news for Bengals fans. Joey B out there throwing the football here in the month of May.
It's good news for the NFL. I mean, we saw how many quarterbacks got injured last season. We saw like the disgruntledness in a lot of teams out there because their main guy wasn't out there and stuff like that. So I'm glad he's out there. My advice to Joe and the rest of the Cincinnati Bengals, take it slow. September's a long ways away. No need to re-aggravate anything. Take it slow.
Yeah, and look, keep in mind with this too, the whole offseason's just been T. Higgins wants out. Obviously, Hendrickson wants out. There's all the concern. Look, all we heard about was all the dollars that they had to spend, and they really didn't go out there and shock the world with any major key addition. They plugged some holes. They addressed some things. They took a lot of chances in the draft. This hasn't been the most positive vibing offseason for the Cincinnati Bengals. So they need anything they can get right now. This definitely helps because the bottom line is everyone knew last year, second worst defense in the NFL. They couldn't run the dang football. They knew they were heading into an offseason where T. Higgins' contract was going to be a talking point. They're going to have to deal with Jamar Chase's contract around the corner. The only thing that matters stability-wise is Joe Burrow being out there. They could be without T. Higgins. They could be without Trey Hendrickson. They can have the second worst run, or they can have the second worst run game and the second worst defense in the NFL. Fans don't care about any of that as long as Joe Burrow's out there. And as long as he's out there throwing the football and no setbacks, Bengals fans should feel good about that. I tell you who does not feel good in the city of Cincinnati right now, at least sports fans-wise, is Cincinnati Reds fans. The Cincinnati Reds have lost 5 straight. As I talked about a little bit ago, this was a team that everyone was excited about to see what they could bring to the table offensively. All right, well, since April 15th, the Cincinnati Reds have been swept twice. All right, they have been shut out 3 times. They have 6 games of 1 run or less. They are in the midst of 5 straight losses. They're off today, but they've been off for a while. Can they get it back on track? That was a hell of a transition. I'm very proud of myself for that one. Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports. He's going to bring a little Reds positivity to the show because he's the best one for that. We'll talk about the Cincinnati Reds with Nick Kirby when we come back.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Forecast a chance of thunderstorms, mostly cloudy and 62 tonight. We'll see a chance of showers, severe thunderstorms, and 78 for the day on Tuesday. Mostly sunny Wednesday, slight chance of an afternoon storm and a high of 83. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu, especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4 count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, it's always a winner.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
This is the sound of a popular American motorcycle. It's the sound of freedom, the open road, really good times. And this is what it sounds like with a drunk guy in it. How do you like the sound of that? Cops are cracking down on drunk motorcycle riders. If you ride drunk, you will get caught and you will get arrested. Drunk riding, over the limit, under arrest. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
When I got the news, I was shocked. I was scared. I was angry. When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved. I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
Your vehicle service needs matter to us. That's what we do. That's why Chevrolet of Troy offers the most convenient service experience in the area and the most competitive pricing. Plus, we're open Saturdays. Experience, satisfaction, and integrity. That's who we are. Chevrolet of Troy is the only dealership in Miami County with an on-site body shop. Our professionals will diagnose your vehicle quickly to get you back on the road. Now that's convenient. Chevrolet of Troy, 1375 South Market Street, and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America, N.A.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them. With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise. No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures. It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
MiamiValleyRoads.org is the source for details on major road construction projects in our region, including commute solutions to save time, money, and stress. Track carpooling, biking, or taking transit when possible. Adjust your schedule or find an alternate route around construction to reduce traffic congestion and air pollution. ODOT and MVRPC are working to continue shaping the region's future together. Visit MiamiValleyRoads.org for a list of projects from ODOT and resources to improve your commute, or call 937-223-SAVE.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll get to your social media reactions coming up here in just a little bit. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We appreciate you, whether you're watching on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page or on Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. It's fun hanging out with you guys each and every weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. Kinner Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, and of course on Chatterbox. But we're going to talk a little Cincinnati Reds, and I thought there's no better person to bring on right now than our next guest. And the reason is because, coming into this Cincinnati Reds season, there was so much optimism, there was so much excitement, and I don't think that there's a reason for all that optimism and excitement to just totally flush it away. But the Reds are in the midst of, well, for one of their toughest stretches schedule-wise, but one of their toughest stretches production-wise. I mean, since April 15th, the Reds have been swept twice. They've been shut out 3 times. They've had 6 games of 1 run or less. It's been an interesting little stretch for the Cincinnati Reds that for the first time is it's challenging the Reds fans. It's challenging the young players on this roster. We talked about, I've said this before, that the worst thing that ever happened to the Cincinnati Reds was the month of June in 2023. And that's going to be something we dive into more a little bit later in the show. But the reason is they won like 18 games that month. I mean, Ellie was playing at an MVP-like level, still playing great, by the way. But everyone was hitting. Matt McClain was hitting. Spencer Steer was hitting. Everyone was pitching well. The bullpen was great. I mean, everything that could have gone right went right. But the problem is that could have been a blip in the radar. That could have been an outlier month. And when you look at all the months outside of June of 2023, 500 baseball is what this Cincinnati Reds team is. And I think that everyone keeps holding the Reds to the standard of what they put forth in June of 2023, and they just have not been that since. And that's been a little alarming for a team that had so much expectations coming into the year. But to talk about the Reds' recent struggles and why we should continue to be optimistic about this team moving forward, Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports, hanging out with us now. Nick, it has been a while, my friend. Welcome.
Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Another day in paradise, as I always like to say. Now, listen, I need you to bring that positivity to the table because Reds fans are starting to lose it a little bit. They've lost 5 straight. You heard me kind of talk about their struggles since April 15th, being shut out 3 times. They've been swept twice, 6 games of 1 run or less. The pitching hasn't been terrible. It's just been the offensive woes that have really plagued this team thus far.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I can't remember a series, or at least maybe I've lost it in my memory as bad offensively as that one, the Reds against the Orioles. I was talking last night with Trace on Chatterbox Reds about it. There's been worse Reds teams, even worse Reds offenses than the injured lineup that the Reds have now that never had a series that bad offensively. So you try to put some of that in perspective, that it's just, a really, really bad stretch on top of a lineup that's probably not very great right now. And you try to remember it's a long 162 game season, but look, it was a brutal weekend of baseball. I watched it too.
Nick, and with that being said, it's through these struggles recently, so much we talk about with teams that are as young as the Reds. Man, these guys have got to learn how to win. They got to learn how to play a 162 game season. With that, yes, you need to learn how to win, but learning how to lose and shake yourself out of a slump is also a part of it. I think that this off day today is very important, especially coming off that series against the Orioles. They have to find a way to shake that off. Luckily, this has been the team that when they've had bad road outings, they've turned it around with a really good showing when they return to Great American Ballpark. And luckily, they have quite a few games coming up. They have 3 with the Padres. They have quite a few games with the Dodgers, and obviously the Cardinals around the corner to take them out to help close out the month of May. A return to Great American Ballpark obviously going to be very helpful for this young team that's trying to learn how to lose and shake off the struggles and try to get back into their winning habits.
Yeah, it's a lineup. It's a lineup that has a lot of guys in positions that you really didn't expect at all coming into the year. I think maybe that's the biggest issue right now. You got guys like Will Benson having to face left-handed pitchers almost every day. He was supposed to just be a platoon player. You have him batting leadoff. TJ Friedl is supposed to be your leadoff hitter. Hopefully he'll be back on Tuesday. It sounds like it's trending that way. You go up and down the line. Santiago Espinal was supposed to be your bonus infielder, but he's been having to play every single day. Stuart Fairchild was just supposed to be a platoon player against left-handed pitching. He's had to play almost every day. So there's just been so many guys that have been out of their normal spots, and I think that maybe had the biggest impact on this offense. But there's a lot of guys also that even still aren't playing to the back of their baseball cards. If you can convince me, hey, maybe Jeimer Candelario is washed, I'm just throwing him out as an example, or maybe Will Benson's never going to be what he was before. You can convince me on 1 or 2 of those guys, but when it's 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, I think it's more of just an early season, really bad small sample than kind of what to expect going forward. And we'll see at least some of these guys get back to that, proverbial back of their baseball card.
What's wild, Nick, is, and I heard you and Trace talk about this in the postgame yesterday a little bit, but I agreed with Trace about this. So many people are making such a big deal about the offseason free agent acquisitions. We're holding, when you added Candelario and Nick Martini and Santiago Espinal, these were supposed to be guys that were just added for depth purposes. I mean, I remember when people were ticked off about some of these additions because why do we need another middle infielder? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? Well, the bottom line is they were supposed to be depth pieces. They weren't supposed to be everyday pieces, as you guys alluded to. And to me, the problem is not so much them, although we would like to see them kind of pick it up a bit, and I mean more than a bit. But to me, it's the concern I'm having is second-year players like Christian Encarnacion Strand. Obviously, you look at Will Benson and you look at Spencer Steer, who had such a hot start early on. Luckily, it's been a fun season watching, Ellie De La Cruz, who I thought that the pressure of his year 2 stint would almost get to him more than the others, and it's almost been the opposite. He's been able to rise up to that occasion. But what about the guys that have the expectations to be great everyday players that haven't necessarily lived up to that yet? Still in a young part of the season, but I still feel like those guys should have more attention thrown their way than the offseason acquisitions who were just supposed to be depth pieces.
Yeah, I mean, you were banking on a really big season for Christian Encarnacion Strand, whether or not this lineup was healthy or not. And to this point, he just hasn't performed. Now, on Sunday, he had 2 hard hit balls. I thought he had one for an out that just really scorched right at the left fielder. So, hopefully that's a positive, but there's been, several games where he's had one of those games and then the next night it just hasn't clicked. But I feel like he's maybe the biggest key to this entire offense is he able to figure it out. Now he's struggled at times in Christian Encarnacion Strand. He's the kind of player that when he struggles, it's going to look worse than other guys because he swings at everything. That's just part of his game. He's been able to overcome that at every level. He overcame that at the big leagues last year. So, while he does need to, I think, have a little bit better plate discipline, he needs to draw a few more walks, at least work some more counts. You can't change completely the type of player he is, which is a guy that just goes up and hits a lot of bad pitches. So, you hope that he's a guy that looks really bad when he's going bad, but when he's going good, it's going to look really easy, and you're going to wonder, how did he struggle for this long?
Nick, David Bell said that the expectations for this season was to win the division. Do you think that is the pressure that's facing the team right now? They're just not playing up to expectations, or you think they're playing with that added pressure of winning the division?
I don't know if it's the pressure of the division. The Brewers and Cubs have played very well to this point, so I think they probably played a little better than you would have expected. I think the Reds are 4.5 back, so they haven't buried themselves, but they're maybe a week away from burying themselves if they have another bad week coupled with, the Brewers or Cubs, playing well. It doesn't feel like it's really the added pressure. I think it's just more so, just guys, not playing up to their level or slow starts, and then too many guys playing out of their roles more than anything else. I don't think it's a pressure thing, but again, you never know. There was some comments on the broadcast yesterday from Barry Larkin that kind of threw me off. Barry Larkin's usually a very, almost a cheerleader for the team, but he seemed pretty upset with the lack of frustration. He thought that they should be more frustrated with the way they're playing. So maybe there is a little bit more to that than might typically be in a spot like this.
Speaking of frustration, when is it okay for the fans to start officially getting frustrated? It's May 6th. It's early. We're still distracted from the NFL draft. Mini camp is starting for football. Us NBA fans are knee deep in NBA playoffs, so we're still kind of like distracted. So when would fans have the right to be upset?
Well, I think fans are going to be frustrated any time of the year, day one, day two. But if you try to, I guess, be a little more realistic, I mean, the Reds are one game out of a playoff spot right now. So it's not like panic time, I don't think, by any means. But like I said before, I mean, the Reds are in a really tough stretch the rest of this month of May. They're going to play some very difficult competition. I don't think the Reds need to go out and play great. I don't even think the Reds necessarily need to even play 500 for the rest of the month. But if the Reds can just be competitive, not be at the end of May, be only a couple games below 500, I think they'll be set up in a decent spot. But if this 5-game losing streak becomes you've lost 12 of 14 or something like that, you could, bury yourself a little bit, and the games in May count the same as the games in September. So that's definitely a concern of mine. But the positive is the pitching is pitching really, really well right now. You hope that can keep up. This pitching is very deep. I mean, the Reds just optioned a reliever down to AAA that has a 0 ERA. I know there was some contention about that, but the pitching is very deep, and I think that's going to help the Reds avoid these long losing streaks, these long stretches of really, really bad play, just because every single night you feel confident that the guy starting gives you a chance to win.
We could talk about David Bell's expectations. What were your expectations for the team coming into the season?
I would say make the playoffs. I wouldn't say I don't know if winning the division necessarily is like an expectation, because you have to tell me, how many wins does it take to win the division? Because you could have a year where, especially the way the NL Central looks this year, 84 wins could win the division, or a year that maybe, the Brewers or Cubs go off and win 90 plus games. So I don't think it was fair to expect the Reds to win 90 plus games this year, but I do think it's fair to expect that they make the playoffs. So my expectations were make the playoffs. I don't think if they miss the playoffs, it's necessarily like the entire plan is shot, scrap everything, start another rebuild, anything like that. But I do think it would be very disappointing, for this group that you're hoping to continue to progress. Very similar to the team that just, beat the crap out of the Reds all weekend, the Baltimore Orioles. They won, I think, 82 games their first year. And the next year they had a big jump to 100 plus wins. I don't think the Reds should have got to 100 plus wins this year, but they showed some steady progress. And you really wanted to see the Reds show some more progress this year.
We have Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports, hanging out with us here. It's the Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, Dayton's radio home of the Cincinnati Reds. And, of course, the Cincinnati Reds off today in the midst of a 5-game losing streak. And earlier, by the way, I gave you the wrong stretch for the Reds of home games coming up. I looked at the wrong off day on the Monday. But they are off today, but they have the Diamondbacks for 3 coming up, and then they hit the road again for a long stretch. So my apologies. I did get that schedule wrong when I was plugging that early to start. But Nick, they have 3 with the Diamondbacks at home coming up over the next 3 days. They have that long stretch on the road. We knew that this was going to be a brutal stretch for the schedule, regardless whether they were home games or away games. But the problem is they're playing their worst baseball in the midst of one of their toughest stretches, if not their toughest stretch of all season coming up. This month is a very dangerous month. I know you said you're just hoping that they could play, close to 500 baseball the rest of the way, but is there any concern that this could be the month that really derails any hopes of them accomplishing what they were hoping to accomplish coming into the season?
Yeah, I mean, look, if they go, I don't know how many games they played this month, but if they go something like 8-20 or something like that, I mean, then they could absolutely bury themselves and put themselves in a hole where they can't dig themselves out of. Very interesting. The Reds play 6 games against the Diamondbacks, 3 at home starting on Tuesday. Then they travel to Arizona next week. The Diamondbacks are also a team that struggled early in the year. They're only 15-10. This was obviously the defending NL champs, went to the World Series last year. They made some big splashes this offseason. They were a team that was expected to really play well, and they have it to this point. So it's almost kind of like, you don't want to say it's like a make or break for both teams, but both of these teams are in spots where they kind of need to pick it up. They can't let themselves get buried. And the Diamondbacks are definitely a potential team that at the end of the year, if you're talking about a wild card spot, you might be competing with. So, how you play in these next 6 games against that team could really go a long way towards the end of the year.
Yeah, ironically enough, the team that, they were only 2 games behind last year, that final playoff spot, the Diamondbacks, who ultimately go on to play in the World Series. So obviously, that's a team to keep an eye on, as far as them competing outside of the division the rest of the way moving forward, as you talked about. You might have touched on this already if you have, my bad, but TJ Friedl, obviously very, very close to returning to the Reds when that is. I heard you and Trace talk about that a little bit. TJ Friedl, with all the struggles they've had, obviously the offensive woes, what does TJ Friedl do for this team beyond just the bat? Because, of course, you put him in this lineup, you put him out on the field, it allows David Bell to be a little bit more flexible with the lineup and positioning out in the field. What does a return for TJ Friedl mean for the Reds as far as just trying to get them out of this current slump that they're in as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, TJ Friedl was the Reds' leader in wins above replacement last year. Kind of the all-encompassing stat that takes offense, defense, base running all into one. They said he was the Reds' best player, and I don't think that's necessarily crazy to think either. He's a very good defensive player in center field. So when you put TJ Friedl out there in center field, he's going to move Stuart Fairchild or Will Benson to the corner, and it's going to make your entire outfield significantly better. So that's obviously a good thing. His base running is important. His ability to get 1 hit, I think get 13 last year, led Major League Baseball. That allows you not to go into slumps because that's always something that can get you on base. So he just does a lot of things that help you win. And I would expect he's going to get put into the leadoff spot. That kind of pushes everyone else back. It puts other players into more spots where I think they're more likely to be successful or at least be a little bit more comfortable. So TJ Friedl's not the be-all, end-all. He's not going to fix every problem that the Reds have, but he's definitely a big step in the right direction. I'm expecting that he's activated on Tuesday because he played 4 rehab games. He started on Thursday. He played all 4 games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in St. Paul. Played 3 of those games in center field. Normally if it's a longer rehab assignment, you play your first game, you get 2 at-bats, they pull you, you get a day off, they kind of ease you in. They didn't really ease him in. They threw him in 4 games, played every day. So I'm expecting that he's activated on Tuesday. I would be pretty surprised otherwise.
All right, Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports, awesome enough to give us a little insight into the Reds. The Reds off today. They'll be back in action coming up tomorrow night, of course. They are back at home. Game 1 of a 3-game series at GABP against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then, of course, they'll hit the road for quite a few series. We'll have the Giants, more with the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers, nonetheless. The tough month of May continues for the Reds. Can they turn it around tomorrow? We'll find out right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Nick, you the man. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Love having you on Chatterbox Sports.
We love being with you guys as well. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. More of the Kinner and Kev Show when we come back.
Old English Outfitters, 50 years keeping you outdoors and on target. Check out the specials page on their website for exclusive deals. Old English Outfitters, 480 Ginghamsburg Road, Tip City, Ohio.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items launching exclusively at Lowe's, like the self-leveling laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect socket set for just $49.98. Get Klein tools in-store and online today. Because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favors, but I'm your #1 customer.
Actually, we offer all our customers these ways to contact us.
I'm sure you give just any customer your personal
company
contact info.
Well, you did call us more than any other customer this year. So in that sense, you are our #1 customer.
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select NKU, in Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included with the activation of a Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Requires in-store activation. Device offer ends 6/9/24. Taxes and fees apply.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has the best fast food fried chicken. Sure, it sounds like an opinion, till you hear that USA Today readers said the same thing. Get a taste of it with the Famous Favorites Variety Box, available at a great low price. With 5 hand-breaded strips and 5 pieces of crispy golden bone-in chicken, it's perfect for feeding your whole crew. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti, and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Did you know that looking at the world from a new perspective might make sense, but not when you're in your car? Make sure your vehicle's up to date, including your tires, so you don't end up looking at things upside down. Come see us at Carol Wirtz Tire. Bald can be beautiful, but not when it comes to your tires. Low, or worse, no tread on your tires is dangerous and makes it harder for your vehicle to stop, leaving you prone to accidents. Come see us at Carol Wirtz Tire.
Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale is here. Get matched to your perfect bed and save up to $700 on select mattresses from top brands.
1410 ESPN Radio gives you 5 straight hours of local sports talk every weekday. Don't miss Off the Bench with Trace Fowler at 1 p.m., followed by the Kinner and Kev Show from 3 to 6 p.m. The best local sports talk in the Miami Valley, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on the iHeartRadio app.
And we are back. Thank you to Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports, giving us a little time today. So one thing I touched on before that interview and that conversation started was that the worst thing that could have happened to the Cincinnati Reds was the month of June 2023. I've referenced this before, but if you look back at, again, heading into last season, the Cincinnati Reds were supposed to be a 100-loss baseball team, right? They were supposed to be a 100-loss baseball team, and the team goes on, to finish above 500. They missed the playoffs by 2 games. We referenced that. In fact, they're taking on the Diamondbacks tomorrow, the team that, the Reds were the last team or first team to miss the playoffs, right? They were the first team out, if you're going to use the March Madness terms, if you will. They were just on the outside looking in. The Diamondbacks finished 2 games ahead of the Reds for that final wild card spot, ultimately represent the National League in the World Series and all that fun stuff. So the Cincinnati Reds, ironically enough, all of that happened because of that magical month in June. Now, they missed the playoffs, but they were in playoff contention because of that big month in June. But let's be clear. You want to talk about outliers, Kev. The month of June 2023 is one of the biggest outliers in Reds baseball recent history. To go 18-9. These are some of the, they went 12-15 in the month of April of 23, 14-13 in May of 23. They went 15-11 in July of 23, 10-17 in August, and 13-13 in September. All right. And then you look at what they've been able to do so far. They went 1 game above 500 in the month of April. All right. And right now they're off to a 0-4 start in the month of May. In the month of June 2023, they went 18-9. That is an outlier month. And let's just say that the Reds go back to finishing close to 500. Let's just say we bring that back down to about 12 wins. You take 6 games off their win total. Now, all right, now you're looking at a 76 win team last year. Let's say instead of 18-9, they only won 12 games. Okay, let's say they only won 12 games. That would put them at 76 wins. That would put them under 500. And then that would put them in line with what they've been in April and May of last year, and July, August, and September of last year, and basically what they were in April of this year. And obviously they're off to a very poor start in the month of May. But the bottom line is if it wasn't for that month of April or that month of June, the month of June of last year, I don't think we'd be feeling as warm and fuzzy inside as we do about this team. In fact, the whole reason that this team had the expectations to win the division, coming into this season and be that new hot up and coming team, the bottom line is we are predicating all of that. We are basing all of that off of 1 month, not 1 season, 1 month, because you take June 2023 out of it, the Reds are who they are. And that is a 1 to 2 games below 500 or 1 to 2 games above 500 on any given month. And that's just who they are. This is a team that doesn't get hot. This is a very inconsistent team. Now that screams youth and young players, and that's exactly what they have. But I still go back to that June of 23. The reason there was such excitement there, it wasn't just that they won 18 games. It's who they were beating in the process. They lost games to the Braves, but every one of those classic games with the Braves came down to 1-run losses. They were exciting games at GABP, at the debut of the City Connect jerseys. They're going against the best team in baseball at the time. Everyone's showing out. Joey Votto's hitting home runs. Ellie De La Cruz hitting home runs, stealing bases. The crowd's going nuts. Everyone just felt like the Reds had arrived. And outside of the month of June 2023, Kev, that outlier month, the Reds are who they are, and this is who they have been for pretty much every month over the last season and a quarter.
You're using the word outlier. Some people use the word fluke for that month. And I know that's like a harsh term to be using about a team that people care so much about, but you bring up those numbers. I can't sit here and act like I follow the Reds on a game-to-game basis. I keep track of them. I know that they're not playing good baseball right now. I know they're in the middle of a losing streak, but you point out those numbers, man. That's quite alarming to look at it from a snapshot point of view of 1 month, and you feel good about things going into the following season. But you're all right. Like Nick said, hey, the games in April and May count just like they do in September. So when you add all these things up and you look at it from the bigger point of view, that's quite alarming. So my question would be, Now that you've pointed that out, when is everybody else going to figure that out?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Now, to be fair, Nick was, as he is Mr. Positive, Nick Kirby, he was also not as positive about the season projections for this team as what the other negative people are at times. But a lot of that had to do with the pitching. You know, I knew that if Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green and you know, Graham Ashcraft and Andrew Abbott, and then of course you go and get Martinez and you go and get some of these other guys, like there was depth added to the pitching and stuff. And to be fair, the pitching has lived up to the expectations as far as that goes. But I don't think everyone that felt all warm and fuzzy inside about this team, it was because of the pitching, although that was the base of it. It was because Matt McClain, it was because Spencer Steer, it was because TJ Friedel, it was because Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand. And then you go and you add a Candelario, and he's been Candelario for 5, Candelario for 6, Candelario for 7. He hasn't lived up to expectations, of course. And, you know, you look at the struggles of Nick Martini and Santiago Espinal. It may sound like I'm about to defend these guys, but let's be clear. I'm very confused as to why when I log on to social media, whether it be Twitter or X or Facebook or whatever, everyone throws shade at those guys. And I'm like, I don't really want to bury Christian Encarnacion Strand and these other guys, but at the same time, I'm more concerned and obsessed with their development and their production than I am of a guy in Candelario who should not be in the role that he is in right now, who should not be. I mean, we're like, oh, they're losing because of Candelario. I mean, to act like because there's no Matt McClain out there that's why this team is struggling, and TJ Friedel, it would be nice to have those two back. But do you guys really think that TJ Friedel and Matt McClain would be good enough to overcome Spencer Steer, who's been so inconsistent? Do you think that they would be able to overcome Will Benson, who's hitting, you know, at that 200 line right now? Do you think that they'd be able to overcome everyone not stepping up? Christian Encarnacion Strand, who has missed not even a full handful of games this season. He's been out there. People bring up, oh, well, he's been injured sometime. I think he's played in 28 to the 30-something games. I mean, he's played and he's not producing. These guys have to produce. And let me be clear. You know, again, that month of June has totally changed things, right? Even though Christian Encarnacion Strand wasn't called up in the month of June last year, he still was hot when he got called up. You know, he gets those big hits early on in his debut with the Reds and everything, and he's had some big hits. He's shown the ability to hit for power and everything else. But the bottom line is when it comes to the Cincinnati Reds, for me, is this is a team that is still full of nothing but second-year players as far as the core is concerned. So this idea that Matt McClain being on this roster would totally change how this team looks and feels, you cannot guarantee me that Matt McClain would not also be having a second-year slump like the likes of a Christian Encarnacion Strand and like the Spencer Steer, who's, by the way, was off to such a hot start early. That's been brought down big time. All I'm saying is this is a super young team. And, right now we're witnessing it, and we're witnessing it at the worst time. I mean, playing the toughest teams in baseball, that's the worst stretch to be playing your worst stretch of baseball. And that's what they're in the midst of right now.
You talk so much about the youth of the team. Like, what can be done about that? There's nothing that can be done, right? I mean, young is young. Like, you're just not going to magically get older and more mature unless you get more and more games underneath your belt. So are you already looking forward to next season?
Oh, no. But that's the thing, though. They're going to have a month of June. They're going to have a hot month. They're going to have a hot stretch where we buy in again. We're going to talk some NBA with the Cavs here in a little bit. There was a stretch where the Cleveland Cavaliers were the best team in basketball. There's a difference. They were the hottest team in basketball. And that stretch that the Cleveland Cavaliers were on, it reminded me a lot of the stretch that the Cincinnati Reds were on in the month of June last year. They weren't the best team in baseball, but there was no doubt that they were the hottest team in baseball. They were the most exciting team in baseball. The Cleveland Cavaliers were the most exciting team in the NBA for that month leading in, or for that 2 months, you really can say, in January and February heading into the All-Star break. And then they never really looked like that team again. The Reds have never really looked like that June team again. And a lot of it is just inconsistent young players that you're waiting for them to kind of come into their own a little bit. Luckily, LA is playing up to expectations. I mean, he's been super exciting. But I'm not going to say that this team is struggling because of no TJ Friedel and no Matt McClain, because to me, this team with Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand and Will Benson and Ellie De La Cruz and Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, we need to be very hard on Jonathan India. We need to be hard on Tyler Stevenson. We need to be hard on Christian Encarnacion Strand and Spencer Steer. These are the guys that we need to be directing our frustration towards, instead of 3 offseason acquisitions that were just supposed to be depth pieces. And instead we're saying we're bad because Candelario's not producing, Nick Martini's not producing, and Santiago Espinal's not producing. I mean, that to me, I think is misguided. It's misguided frustration as far as that's concerned. But we shall see. The Reds are off today. They'll be back at it again tomorrow night. So it'll be interesting to see how the Reds respond returning home, because I've said before, we've seen, when the Reds got swept by the Mariners and it just seemed like, oh man, they're losing that energy. They're losing that fun. They returned home and had that excitement and energy again. And the Reds right now in the midst of a 5-game losing streak and offensive woes left and right. They have a chance to kind of get it going against a good Diamondbacks team, but at least they have them at Great American Ballpark. This is probably the most, again, it's May, so this sounds a little dramatic, but to me, this is a big time series because the Reds can take 2 of 3 and get back in the win in the win column and kind of get back in their winning ways. I think that is huge because then they shake off this recent slump. But if you drop 2 of 3 or you get swept again, now that's a snowball effect because that means you would have lost 7 of 8 or 8 straight. And now you got to go on the road to take on the Giants in San Francisco. You got to take on the same Arizona Diamondbacks team again in Arizona. And then you got 4 with the Dodgers in Los Angeles and the West Coast, which the Reds never play well.
West, y'all.
I mean, my goodness, this 3-game stretch with the Diamondbacks. I'm not overreacting. Not saying that the season is done, but my goodness, if you want to talk about making your job a lot harder than it has to be, losing this series or getting swept in this series is very crucial. They have to win this series, in my opinion. Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com. Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Save big money and transform your home with new appliances now at Menards. We offer the lowest prices and the largest in-stock appliance selection. Ready to take home today. Check out top appliance brands, including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. Upgrade your home and save big money on new appliances at Menards. Shop our entire selection of appliance options online today at Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-707-4522. 800-707-4522. 800-707-4522.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
If you're a man over 40, feeling like you're falling off in your workouts, career, maybe even in the bedroom, it could be lower testosterone, but you can do something about it. Men across America have beaten the slump thanks to Nugenix Total T. Let's hear from some Nugenix callers. This is Ron from Dallas.
Unlike other supplements that might lead to jitters or crashes, Nugenix provides a steady increase in energy. I've experienced consistent energy levels throughout my workouts, helping me maintain the intensity from start to finish.
Frank from Chicago, you're on air.
It works, and it does everything everyone else is saying. I'm in my mid-40s. Sex drive improved, more energy, and I feel stronger.
Don't wait. Text ACTIVE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ACTIVE to 321-321. That's ACTIVE to 321-321.
Statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring today. Robert Half is here to help. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
Reds fans, you can catch Tom and Marty Brenneman every Wednesday on Off the Bench with Trace Fowler right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. You can also stream 1410 ESPN Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
Hour number 2, Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. Appreciate everyone tuning in, whether you're watching the show or listening to the show or streaming the show on the iHeart app, of course, on Odyssey, on TuneIn, wingam.com. I mean, there's plenty of ways to listen to the show, whether you're streaming the audio, whether you're listening in the old school way, 1410 Wing AM, of course.
We really appreciate that.
Or hanging out on the YouTube channel, Chatterbox Sports, ESPN Dayton, and then, of course, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. So thank you for that. So I'm checking the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page chat, Kev, and a lot of people coming in hot. You could like the David Bell, people coming in from the top rope with the David Bell stuff. Gary Peck on Facebook says David Bell's the problem. 8 different cleanup hitters in the first 35 games is asinine. The talent level and players changed over the 5+ years Bell has been here. Same results. Lineups that score 3 runs or less in 40% of their games, winning 1 out of 4 in such games, at least 60 games every year. That is 15-45 or worse. You cannot win with Bell's lineups. So his take, very similar to takes that I've had in the past when baseball was played that way.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get annoyed with the constant moving around of the pieces in the lineup constantly. When Mark Schlemmer and I hosted the show, Schlemmer was a baseball lifer, coached the game, in college, obviously played professionally. He knew the game the old school way. And him and I talked about the importance of guys, maybe this does play a role in today's baseball. And it just because, they may not realize it. When you think about how the game used to be played, when you were a leadoff hitter, you were a leadoff hitter.
Right.
When you were a cleanup hitter, you were a cleanup hitter. You had responsibilities and roles within the lineup, not just roles out on the field or roles as a, coming off the bench or whatever. But there was some consistency. There was just some comfort to knowing that, okay, you may be in a slump right now as a cleanup hitter, but you're staying the cleanup hitter. Like you are not a cleanup hitter one day, hitting in the 7th spot the next day. Oh, now we're going to move you around and have you bat 3rd the next. Like to us, it's no big deal as fans. But Schlemmer constantly was, explaining to me why that totally messes with the mindset and psyche of a player. And who am I to tell him that he's wrong? But at the same time, baseball is played that way today where it is almost like, you put names in a cup and you throw them out and then it seems like they're just moving them all around. They have their reasons. I don't like that. I think baseball, we've talked about this with advanced analytics in the past where It's supposed to be something that makes baseball so unique and smart and intelligent. And I feel like it's dumbed the sport down too much to the point to where there's just no gut or feel or vibe to it. But me complaining about that's not going to change it.
Mhm.
So for me to hold David Bell to a standard that no one else holds any other manager to, or maybe a lot of fans do, that's just how the game's played today. It's annoying. If you don't like 3-point shooting in basketball, it's a tough product to watch nowadays, right? Man, I hate that coach. I mean, that would be like watching the NBA or basketball today, even in high school. Okay, you watch basketball today and say, you know what? I don't know what that coach is thinking. All his team does is shoot threes. Well, if you pay attention to the rest of basketball, everyone's shooting threes. And that's kind of this argument here. David Bell changes his lineup too much. I used to be that guy. That's what me and Nick Kirby used to argue about all the time. He was just ahead on the changes in baseball than I was and hadn't accepted it yet. Doesn't mean I like it. I know what he is talking about. I know why Gary's frustrated. But Gary, you got to watch more than just the Reds to understand that David Bell's really not doing anything differently than any other manager in baseball. You're going to learn that, because if the Reds do move on from David Bell after this season, whoever comes in, you think they're going to have the same cleanup hitter in the lineup every day? You think that you're going to have the same number 3 hole hitter in the lineup open, obviously the leadoff hitter? That's not going to be the case. Even the leadoff hitter is not always the leadoff hitter when it comes to today's baseball. I don't like it. I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is that's just how it is. If you don't like basketball because they shoot too many threes, then you just don't like basketball because they shoot too many threes. That's not a coaching issue. That's just the product today. And if you don't like that about David Bell's lineups, you just don't like baseball today. It's not a David Bell thing.
Yeah, that's how the game is. It's structured this way. It's structured like that in a lot of sports. It's not just baseball and basketball. It's structured that way in football. Like you see, like the difference between football now and even the early 2000s. Like you couldn't tell somebody in the early 2000s, like, oh man, we're gonna go for it on 4th and 3 from the 50-yard line. They're punting that ball every single time. But now you look like as a maniac if you're not going for it on 4th and 3 from the 50-yard line. Like that's the new realm of what we're dealing with. And when it doesn't work out, they get banged on. When it works out, awesome call. Let's keep the drive moving. So that's the same thing in baseball. When these lineup changes work, like it's working with countless other teams across Major League Baseball, nobody bats an eye. But when things aren't working, especially when it's your favorite team, that's the thing that you're going to point to. I can't sit here and say that, oh man, what they're doing is right, what they're doing is wrong. I am truly just a fan. Now, when we talk about basketball and football, I have more insight. I have more knowledge. Those are sports that I actually study and I watch way more. And I feel like I understand more. In baseball, I am truly just a fan. Hit ball, catch ball, run the base. That's the brunt of my knowledge in that situation. Like, of course, there's certain things that are like, well, why would you do that? That seems a little silly. But as fans, we're super passionate and truly, all we want to do is win. So whatever works to win, we don't care. Because guess what? If we were winning, if the Reds were winning at this point and doing all this switching, we wouldn't be saying a word. We'd be saying, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's all about producing. And right now, the players aren't producing because those are the guys that are most important, because those are people that are actually on the field. We can complain about David Bell switching the lineup, things of that nature. Hey, man, if he's switching it for a reason. He has confidence in you to execute what he wants you to execute. You as a player not going out there to do it, then we got to change it again, because that's the way the game works nowadays. Like the days of, hey man, you being a Hall of Fame player strictly off your glove, those days are over. You being a Hall of Famer strictly based off your bat, those days are over. You got to be a super interchangeable player in baseball nowadays.
It's Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Gary responds, and there's no other team in the last 100 years that have used 8 cleanup hitters in their first 35 games. Yes, Bell is doing it different than other managers. And, first of all, I always appreciate listeners who do their homework and bring something, because, I can't say he's right. I won't tell you you're wrong, Gary, but did you go back and research 100 years of baseball and find that every team out there? But I'm not mocking you, Gary, because I when you have a stance and you bring, like, you know what I mean? You bring talking points to it and you have number, that's cool. Yeah. So like I said, I just think that today's game, very, very different. It's hard for me to jump on that. I think that, managers don't mean a whole hell of a lot in baseball like they used to. I think of all the sports out there, if you think about the coaching or the guy in charge or gal in charge, baseball is the least important in my opinion, because, well, if baseball rules are, third time through the order, you got to yank him. That's not a gut thing. That's not a, oh man, that's a genius decision by David Bell, who has, studied this and found his gut's telling him that the third time through the order is going to be. No, every manager thinks that, and every manager operates that way. So if I just know the how everything is run from that perspective, you can hire anybody that just remotely knows baseball to just follow these rules. To where back in the day, it was who had the better feel for the game.
Right.
Hey, that's my pitcher. Hey, man, he's at 120 pitches. Yeah, I know he's at 120 pitches, but this guy can pitch still with 120 pitches. But this guy doesn't. I need to know my roster. I need to know my guys. Now, some of you are having PTSD thinking about a guy, Dusty Baker, from back in the day, throwing those arms into the ground. But you know what? There's a reason every team that Dusty managed for was good, and he got the most out of him. Obviously, he has a World Series now finally under his belt. But geez,
and to go to that point, the history of this batter versus this pitcher, he's due and things of that nature. Like, I guess that type of element has been taken away from baseball. I really wish it would go back to that, gut feeling, because these guys that are managers in baseball, most of these guys have obviously played in the league, have a ton of experience. Just let them be managers a little bit. Yes, obviously use the analytics. That is an important part of the game, but their gut is also a part of the game, because if, like you talked about, if they're just strictly following the script, when they get fired, what are they being fired for? Hey man, I followed the piece of paper that you guys told me to follow. Don't fire me, fire the paper. But it doesn't work like that.
Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410, 937-518-1410. If you're calling outside of the Dayton area, of course. One listener of the show is calling from Chicago. He's not a big fan of the Candelario signing in the offseason for the Reds. We got Mr. E in Chicago. Mr. E, welcome. Thanks for holding.
Hello, guys.
Greetings.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How are you?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Now, you're not big on old Mr. Candelario, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm not big on him at all. And I think that, if we look at the season right now and try to think, it's a long season, there's more at hand right now than it being a long season and all that. And the Candy signing, I think, signaled to the leadership on this team and the young players that, he was supposed to be a backup guy. But, just originally when we signed him, I didn't think that it was good for the players, that you believed in your players. I know that they need depth. They can understand that. Once I actually got to see Candy play, I noticed that just the way the clubhouse was gelling with him. And, Jake Fraley had a really good quote last season. He said, there's two types of people in this world. There's those who give you energy and there's those who take energy. And from what I've observed, Candelario is an energy taker. I would say like an energy vampire on the team. And I believe that he it's just created a problem in the team. I think it's an intangible thing, but I don't think he was a good fit to be in the clubhouse overall.
So let me ask this based on so you're saying his energy is so bad that that's what's bringing down the clubhouse?
Well, I don't think it's single-handedly that, but I think it has a large part in that, because I know that in baseball, when these guys, you get on hot streaks, you're very elevated. And just like in baseball, there's a lot of superstitions and all these things. And when you watch Candy, the way he carries himself, he has an idol. He's kind of like faking it. He's not really at one with himself. He's there's a middleman. So it's preventing him from having direct at oneness with him. And when he carries himself, I don't know if he kind of fakes the funk a lot, and that takes a lot of energy to do that. And then for players to be around that, he's very animated if you watch him. He's a lot of extra movements, a lot of things that he does. And I can just say I've worked with guys like that on crews, and they are just, you can't really elevate around those types of guys. Baseball is a very sensitive sport like that. So I've observed that enough that I wanted to call in and really make a big point about that this Candelario signing, they didn't do enough research and homework. He is just a cancer for the team. So it's more than just his performance and all these things. He's a toxic player.
Are you talking more about body language and things of that nature?
It's his, not just the demeanor, the body language, the way he interacts with the players. If you watch him on the field, he kind of acts like he's their big brother or they're superior, that they kind of have to he'll tease them a little bit. I don't really think they're really having it. He kind of it's kind of like he's playing a veteranship role on this team. You got Ohtani on the other hand, who goes to the Dodgers and says, I'm a rookie. This is a new team to me. I'm going to come in humble, contrite, like a rookie. Candy kind of came in like, I got the big contract. I'm the big money man. You can't do nothing about it. I'm here. And I went to the White Sox series. I live in Chicago and they played the White Sox. I just watching him. He was kind of like out of control, just running around, just like acting like he's like just kind of exalted himself. He didn't really earn any of this, and just the way he's carrying himself, he acts like he's carrying the team, and it's just kind of strange just seeing that. So I think just from these guys in baseball and knowing this group, I think that he has greatly affected this team. I think it's a big energy thing with the team, and I think he's a big one of the big problems that the Reds have right now is that signing with him.
Mr. E, we appreciate the call, especially all the way from Chicago, being patient, waiting on hold. You the man. I appreciate that insight. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
With that, and Nick alluded to it during our conversation, Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports, back in hour one, that Barry Larkin, who was, when he said basically the cheerleader of the team, you get a lot of those former players, on those, type of deals that, he's going to be the, one of the voices of the Reds, TV voices of the Reds, they're looking at through that former player scope, everything they do is jolly and great and all this, but he was pretty critical about the body language and just the lack of, urgency and aggression from the Reds, from that series with the Orioles. And he was talking about how concerning that was. My thing is you have a team that's I think hitting 224 as a team or something crazy like that. They're the worst hitting team in baseball. All right. They're the worst hitting team in baseball right now. So they're hitting 210. They are hitting 210 as a team right now, dead last in Major League Baseball.
That ain't good.
So that right there, that might be, I think everyone a little salty. Everyone's a little not feeling themselves. Their head is hanging as far as that's concerned. But I will say this is where baseball is starting to be different than other sports. I'm here to tell you, in college football, if you're losing and everyone's hanging their head and they're not playing hard, guess who they blame? The coach.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, you're struggling, you're not playing hard, and you're hanging your head, and the body language is bad. Guess who's getting fired?
Darvin Ham.
The coach. Yeah, Darvin Ham. Baseball, we're singling out the individual players. I'm not saying we should be singling out David Bell, but at the same time, it's another difference in how baseball is viewed. We talked about, the Joey Votto and the Mike Trout thing, last week or the week before about how baseball athletes in baseball and just those common unwritten rules in sports, they don't pertain to baseball as much as they do other sports. It's kind of wild nonetheless. But 518-1410, 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Shaw is on hold, so we're going to get to him coming up here around the corner.
Wonder what he wants to talk about.
I think I read he was calling to admit that Michigan cheated.
Finally.
Shaw will admit that Michigan cheated when we come back. Now, more of the Kinner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports next.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Forecast a chance of thunderstorms, mostly cloudy and 62 tonight. We'll see a chance of showers, severe thunderstorms, and 78 for the day on Tuesday. Mostly sunny Wednesday, slight chance of an afternoon storm and a high of 83. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic, creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
Do you want a job that is flexible, secure, and fun? It also offers excellent pay and is ranked as one of the best jobs in America, too. I'm talking about being a dental hygienist. And all you have to do is complete a 2-year program after high school. Visit ODA.org to learn more and to start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Posters, flyers, signs, and menus for less? Think Staples. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. Now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Same-day service available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. And all backed by Staples' Print Perfect guarantee. So it's done right or it's printed again free. Staples, your local print and marketing expert. N61, visit staples.com/print for details.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Hey, it's Keith Byers. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideals like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long-term relief with no downtime. Make 2024 the year you reclaim your mobility, reclaim your independence, walk and run and play and live without the danger and trauma of surgery. And without harmful drugs, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 937-936-0325.
Frickers doubles your savings when you use the Frickers app. Frickers doubles your points on everyday value menu item. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Double points on the Frickers app. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Double points. Wednesday, sirloin steak. Double points. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Double points on the Frickers app. When you download the Frickers app, you can even earn points by choosing delivery. Frickers mobile app now offers delivery. Everyday values, double points, and delivery all by downloading the Frickers app. Your best value is always Frickers. Delivery participation and hours may vary by location.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Due to recent demand, our office is now issuing boat registrations for your convenience. This new service will be available at our downtown Dayton auto title location. We can help with new boats, renewals, and also ownership changes. Go to weregisterboats.com for more info.
Cordell Transportation has more advantages than ever before, including brand new equipment. That's right. Plus excellent pay benefits and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply now at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-707-4522. 800-707-4522. 800-707-4522.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. Visit Allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Dayton sports fans, 1410 Wing AM has a new daily local show. Don't miss Off the Bench with Trace Fowler. Weekdays at 1 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio and streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
And we are back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Gary Peck on Facebook, on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, says $100 to the first person who can find another team that used 8 starting cleanup hitters in their first 35 games in the last 100 years. Look, the bottom line is like I see what like
that's not a trivia question.
It's not, but at the same time, that's not why they're not hitting. That's not why they're the worst hitting team in baseball. Is it helping? I mean, that's subjective. That's up to you if you think it's helping. But like the Reds, you act like if they just continue taking an under 200 hitter and slapping them in the cleanup spot over and over and over. You know what I mean? Like that's what's wild to me. So, Gary, I get your point. But let's stop acting like the Reds are the worst hitting team in baseball because they've had 8 different cleanup hitters in their first 35 games of the season. It's a talking point that helps your side. I'm definitely not saying you're wrong. But it's not a cleanup hitter issue. Collectively, they're hitting 210 as a team. It's not as if, well, maybe if they just keep Christian Encarnacion Strand at the number 4 spot for 35 straight games, maybe they would hit 540 at the plate. No, like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know what that point is, what the point of that point is, because that point is not why the Reds are the worst hitting team in baseball right now.
So my question would be, since we all talk about baseball being such a long season, 162 games, my question would be to any manager out there that makes this many switches is, if this is such a long season, why aren't we giving our guys an opportunity to work themselves out? Why are we constantly switching things as opposed to letting guys get comfortable? That would be my question. I don't know a billion about baseball, so maybe there's a reason why, maybe there's a reason why not. But that would be my question to David Bell or any other manager out there that switches things up so much.
And keep in mind, too, David Bell has had nothing but bad teams in Cincinnati for quite some time as well. That's why this year it's the magnifying glass is on him, because, you know, people try to give him the excuse of back in 2020 during the COVID season. Yeah, well, that was a COVID season. Yeah, well, I mean, that was a Mike Moustakas, who I know didn't live up to expectation, but Mike Moustakas, you had a Castellanos, you had Jesse Winker, who was still hitting the ball very, very well. You had Eugenio Suarez, who was still playing well. You had a lot of big names on that roster, and they weren't doing what they were supposed to. I mean, it's like there's always these guys who are not doing what they're supposed to under David Bell's watch. Now, but 2020 was really the only year where they had a roster that was worth holding him to any kind of accountability. And then people took that accountability away because they said, well, it was a COVID shortened season. And I said, no. I mean, if anything, that was an excuse of why you should have been better. They were one game above 500 for that 60 game stretch. And we all know the unceremoniously way that they were, knocked out of the playoffs. I mean, it was completely horrifically bad outside of Trevor Bauer's pitching performance as far as that's concerned. So as I sit here and I look at this team, no one's going to give David Bell the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, we could talk about expectations. We could talk about the talent on the roster and all that stuff. None of that changes the fact that they are hitting 210 as a team, and it has nothing to do with how many different cleanup hitters they've had in 35 games to start the season, at least in my opinion, as we sit here right now. Now, I know you've thrown out, okay, how far into the season before you start to panic this, that, and the other. I would be panicking now, because the bottom line is can they start hitting better at a certain point? Yes.
Panic Bell.
Can they? Yeah, we can't change that Bell usage all the time, right? Can they start hitting the ball better at a certain point? Yes. But let's say that we get to June and they have that 18-9 record in June. But let's say they only win 4 games in the month of May. That whole June record doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot. So now's the time to panic. I know everyone wants to do this whole, it's a long season. It's only May. You still got June, July, August, and September. The worse month you have, the even better you have to be in the months coming up.
Right.
And I don't think that the range between this team is what they've been lately and a 100-win team on the other end. I don't think that there's that wide of a range. I think this is a team that is a 500 team when things are going well. And things aren't going well right now. So when things start going well at a certain point, you're not going to be able to overcome a bad month of May. And an 0-4 start to the month of May in the midst of a 5-game losing streak is not good. So to answer your question, Kev, I'm not panicking, losing sleep at night, but I do know this. When the Reds miss the playoffs again by 2 to 3 to 4 games, and they play well in June, July, and August and September, we're not going to say, well, they played hard down the stretch. No, but they sucked in May. So this is a very important month. This is a very important series with the Diamondbacks coming up, as far as I'm concerned, and it goes way beyond the cleanup batter. Which is how all this conversation started. Now, the reason I brought up the talent stuff, Shaw brought up the fact that he says, I disagree. I have watched a lot of baseball this year. I was at the game Friday. The lineup Friday was the same as it was Sunday. My Braves minus injuries, the lineup has been the same. The Dodgers lineup has been you mean World Series contenders? You mean teams with proven veterans on their team that have established roles? Shaw, you are right. The Dodgers don't change it up as much, but they have guys who have established roles. You know who they are. You know what they bring to the table. There's consistency there. Same thing with the Braves. When healthy, you know who your guys are. You know what their roles are. we know the names of the Reds players right now. We know who Christian Encarnacion Strand is. We know who Will Benson is. We know who TJ Friedel is coming back. We want Matt McClain back. Obviously you have Jonathan India, you have Tyler Stevenson. You know who these guys are, but they have yet to establish who they are role-wise. So that's the difference in the two teams those two examples, in my opinion.
You just brought up a great point. Is it just the fact that we know these names because they play for the team that we cover? These aren't like superstars. Like the superstars, Aaron Judge bats in the same spot every single day. Mookie Betts bats in the same place every day because they're superstars. You got guys that are major leaguers. And when you don't have superstars, that's what happens. Is it as simple as that?
Yeah. And again, there's not a lot of teams that have that deep of a roster. So it's easier to manage that team. To hold David Bell to the same standard of how you would manage the Dodgers and, of course, the Braves when they have talent all up and down that roster. They have proven talent. The Reds have talent. They don't have proven talent yet. This is year 2 for a lot of these guys, year 3 for a lot of these guys. It's year 4 for what, India? I think it's year 4 for India and Stevenson and stuff. And Stevenson we thought was the catcher of the future. I remember when the Reds drafted Stevenson, he started with the Dragons. At that time they had Devin Mesoraco and Tucker Barnhart as their catchers. And at the time, everyone's like, the Reds have plenty of catchers. Why are they drafting Tyler Stevenson? Well, you can tell the people that don't understand how baseball works, because here we are all these years later. Tyler Stevenson was supposed to be the next big catcher, and he's just not. He's not consistent enough. Consistency is the key. Tyler Stevenson, when he's hot, is one of the best catchers in baseball. All right, Jonathan India is a clubhouse guy. There's a reason so many people fought to keep him in Cincinnati, despite the depth that they have at middle infield, which we're still looking for that depth right now as Reds fans. But the Candelario thing, too, has been an issue. You were surprised by some of those numbers.
Yikes. So he's batting 190. 190, 3 home runs, 10 RBI.
Well, listen, Reds fans aren't allowed to be alarmed by those numbers because when a certain first baseman had those numbers last year, everyone wanted it. And David Bell put his ass in the lineup every single day. A lot of you there's this, I got to go, Mancuso. I don't know what his name is on Twitter, but this is the guy that's saying, I thought we didn't need Joey Votto. You mean Joey Votto? Not Joey Votto, great legacy guy, one of the best Reds of all time. Joey Votto, to act like, if this team had Joey Votto, they all would be well in the world.
But Joey Votto was, 40 last year?
Mm-hmm.
This dude's 30. Joey Votto wasn't putting up this type of numbers at 30. Joey
Votto was below 200 for most of the season last year,
but not at the age of 30. I'm looking at his age. Dude is 30 years old. Should be in his prime.
If you're out there, you're out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joey Votto for 4, Candelario for 5. That'd be a hell of a lineup.
This is bad, dude.
It ain't good.
Goodness gracious. What was his contract?
I have to go pull that up and all that. Look, I didn't get super. This was one of the contracts that when added, everyone was scratching their head saying, hey, it's a nice addition, but why are we adding more?
It ain't.
Oh, man, they wanted to trade Jonathan India. Why, wanted to trade Jonathan India because there was so much depth in there. And then you keep Jonathan India and then you go and add another middle infielder. And now people are still looking for more middle infield depth when it comes to this team right now. So regardless of the position, I don't care about middle infield or outfielder or designated hitter. I don't care about any of that stuff. 190 is 190. That's a bad average for anybody. I know people look at, the advanced analytics. They don't really care just about batting average itself, which I do, hit ball. Like you said earlier, dumb it down. Baseball, we're trying to make baseball a little bit more fancier than it has to be. The bottom line is hit ball, put ball in play, knock that damn ball out of the ballpark, put runs up on the board. Baseball's as simple as that. I don't need to know launch angle. I don't need to know the ABC square -5 divided by 6. And, and that's just the formula for Tuesdays. And then there's a whole other formula for Wednesdays when you hit. And then, in this month, when the moon is shifting over this way, when there's X amount of stars and this much cloud coverage, this team's hitting this. It's just simple. When you put the ball in play, advance runners, knock the ball to the ballpark, score runs, get outs.
So
that? Baseball's not that hard.
So the Reds,
190 sucks.
Yeah, very bad. The Reds signed him back in December to a 3-year deal with a club option in 2027, fully guaranteed 45 M's.
Wow.
Man,
how about that number? How about that stat?
Man, that's bad.
It's not good. Shaw, you're on. Thanks for waiting. What's up?
It's insane.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, man? I'm just doing a deep dive on this man's stats.
If he's bad, how about there's 5 other guys that have averages below him?
But they're not.
So I mean, two things can be true at the same time. David Bell is a horrible manager for always changing his lineup, but at the exact same time, he has nobody to put in the lineup that's
Exactly.
actually going to
Shaw,
consistent.
Shaw, that Gary guy. So, okay, if you change, if you keep the lineup the same, you continue throwing out the bad hitting player after bad hitting player, or if you change it up, you're just replacing him with another bad hitting player. Really, David Bell's in a no-win situation as far as that's concerned.
No, he's not. And I know it made it look like I was arguing with you about the Braves and the Dodgers and stuff like that. And yes, you are correct. Those are two of the best teams in baseball, but it's not just them either. There's other teams. There's a lot of teams that just don't change their lineups like this all the time. But you can't have it both ways. Like, what is he supposed to do? Throw Encarnacio Strand in there batting 179 at the 4-hole consistently?
Sean, real quick, if David Bell managed your Braves team, do you think he would do the same thing he's doing in Cincinnati? And I'm not arguing.
If David Bell managed my Braves team, I'd be pulling my hair out.
You're bald.
I'd have less hair. I would have less.
Said your goatee.
I would have less hair. Look, okay, so Stricker is David Bell on steroids. Stricker gets a lot of things correct because he has a lot of good players around him. I deal with David Bell on the Braves on a daily basis. I don't need a worse manager. I need a better manager for the Braves. I think part of the Braves' problem has been Snecker as the manager of the team. I disagree with you on the managing thing, about how the manager is the least important in all the sports. In some aspects, I believe the manager, especially as we get closer to postseason, is the most important of all the major sports. You have to know when to make that switch and who to put into the game out of the bullpen to face a certain couple hitters. You have to know when to make that switch. You have to know when is your starter on a 7-inning hit, like he's on a heater, but he looks like the fastball is not as fast. Like, you have to know when to pull that starter out of the game to bring in the guy out of the bullpen. You have to know who to bring in.
He has a whole team of people that have put all this stuff together on an iPad, and the iPad is basically telling you when to do these things. You are not wrong, but this idea that he has all this just, cataloged into the back of his brain and just knows, oh man, this is going to happen with it. Like, you are right, but that information, it's not as if he needs to store it in the back of his mind. It's there readily available in an iPad, and the game moves so slow. It's not that difficult, in my opinion, to make those decisions, to where in basketball, things happen so quickly. Football, things happen so quickly. That's my counterpoint to that.
Football and basketball has the same amount of analytics as what baseball does.
But the game moves so much quicker. You have to make decisions on the fly. Baseball's not moving on the fly.
But all of that stuff is predetermined before the game even happens. In baseball, yes, you have the analytics right there in front of you on the iPad. But what if you're on a back-to-back, and the guy who should be coming in right now just threw 2 nights in a row? He's not available. Mm-hmm. Analytics can tell you whatever you want.
But you know what you have available going into that game that night. So your iPad will adjust everything based on who you have. I mean, I keep saying iPad, but it's really the iPad. It's all the numbers truncated in there, but not, and that's fine. And no, that's great. And you might be the first one I've heard break that down that way as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I think the pace of play just makes it easier for these managers to make these decisions. There's stressful moments of games that they have to make a decision, but they have time to think about it. Basketball, football, you do not, outside of the fact that there's 85 timeouts in the fourth quarter. But
I agree with you for 130 games of it. But then you come down to the last month and you get in the playoffs, and the longer you're in the playoffs, each managerial decision on a baseball team is magnified more and more and more, especially the longer you're in the playoffs. And it's just,
when are the playoffs played? I'm a Reds fan. I don't even know when the playoffs are. Season ends in September.
I get your point. I mean, it is like, I can still remember moves being made by the Braves for last 5, 6, 7 years, except for 2021, where I'm just like, if there was another move made there, would the outcome become a little different? But going back to the original point, when I was down there Friday and I had 2.5 hours to sit there and look at the roster and look at the batting averages and stuff like that. And then once the game started, watching the Orioles batting approaches in the box and watching the Reds approach in the box, it's no wonder why one team is hitting and why the other one's not. Like, they knew going into that game, and I guarantee it was talked about, and I guarantee it was hammered home and yada, yada, yada. We're going to get Green out of this game, extend the at-bat, take more pitches, foul more pitches off. Every hitter, 1 through 9, that's what the Orioles were doing. The Reds came to the plate at the bottom of the inning, and it was swing at the first pitch, roll over the pitch. I think the shortstop and the third baseman combined probably had 17 putouts that game Friday night. And it's just absolutely horrible approaches when you're stepping up to the plate. And I don't get it. That's the aspect of where, when I was sitting down there Friday, I was just lost. And then everything that happened Saturday and then what happened yesterday, it made sense to me, because you have 6 guys batting 190 or less on that ball club. And then the Reds want to sit there and tell you, well, we didn't need to go get a quality bat in the offseason because, well, all these young guys are good enough. Well, now that we're in the struggle, well, it's because we're young and we're hurt and we're this. You can't have it both ways. You can't. Either go in to the off season and say, you know what? I see that we probably have a hole in left field. I see we probably have a hole in some other spot, and I'm going to go get one of those veteran bats. You know, kind of like the guy the Giants picked up, Matt Carpenter, at third base for just $7 million. I understand maybe the Reds didn't want to spend that money, but a guy like that, just get a veteran bat in there to teach these kids how to have quality at bats and just extend and try to get the starting pitcher out of the game early. There's nobody on this Reds team that's doing that right now. They're all young. They're all going up there, and they're all failing together. And every now and then one guy will get hot for a couple game stretch, and then they all get cold again. It's just it's sickening to me as a partial Reds fan when I sit there and I see the ownership and I see management just sit there and do the same things over and over and over and over again. And then when the season's happening, nothing's ever changed. Nothing doesn't change at all with their thought process or anything else like that. And then we want the outcome in the game to go differently when you didn't change anything in the off season at all. And that's what's frustrating to me, is because you just see horrible. They just don't play fundamental baseball.
So I'll cut you off right there. I think it's just we all got we all got caught up in the month of hope. And hey man, like they were right there. They missed the playoffs by 2 games. Shoot, the team that they lost out to the playoffs just won the World Series. So all that wrapped up into a frenzy of an off season, the hype of Ellie, and he's playing very well, obviously. People just got wrapped up into it. Not only us as fans, management did as well. They figured like, all right, we'll hit the ground running next season since we played so well last season. And I don't think that's a wrong approach. It's turning out to be wrong right now, early in May. But as I'm looking at this and, you know what I'm saying, trying to figure out what's going wrong with them, from my eyeballs, I could see something that's gravely wrong with them. Out of the top 50 batters in baseball, they have one in the top 50, Ellie at 47. Where you look at the Dodgers, they have 3 in the top 5. Like, bat the ball, man. Bat the ball. So whatever the fix is, I'm not smart enough to tell you what the fix is. Is it getting better players? Is it getting a different manager? Whatever it is, it's got to be fixed.
And let's be clear. We act like I talk about the core of this team being young, like second-year guys with Christian Encarnacion, Strand, Spencer Steer, Matt McClain, you know, obviously Ellie De La Cruz, and, you know, we're talking about Friedel and all this. There are guys that have been in the league for quite some time. Okay, there are guys who have been, I mean, when you add how many years they've been in the minors, and then, of course, brought up to how many years they've been hitting major league, pitching, Jonathan India's in year 4. Tyler Stevenson in year 4. All right, Will Benson, his first year in the majors was 2022. This is year 3, right? Like, I'm not saying these are seasoned veterans, but this is why baseball will always struggle against the other sports. If it takes Will Benson and Jonathan India and Tyler Stevenson, if it takes 6 to 7 years to learn how to hit a damn ball consistently, that's a problem. So, yes, well, we can consider, David Bell, me, I'm a big David Bell guy, right? Like the fact that I just think of all the problems on this team, if you start categorizing them or prioritizing them, I don't think David Bell I'm prioritizing at the top of this is the problem with this team list as far as I'm concerned. The problem, you want to talk about adding a veteran bat? Jonathan India, that was supposed to be you. The clubhouse fought to keep you. The fans fought to keep you. Hit better than 220 or whatever it is he's hitting, 210 or 211. Okay. Tyler Stevenson, same thing. It's up to these guys. Will Benson's been in the league for quite a few years now. Come on. So to put the pressure on role players like Candelario and Martini and these guys to hold them to a higher standard, like Santiago Espinal, to hold them to a higher standard than the actual core guys, that's the problem to me. But, we'll see what ends up happening as far as that's concerned. Well, enough talking about the comedy of the Reds and with the bat in their hand. Let's talk about the comedy of, the Tom Brady roast. I'm not going to lie. I've seen the Tom Brady roast be, promoted for I feel like a week and a half. I was like, man, I feel like, how many, there were so many big names in that, Kev. That took a long time to put that together. And I feel like they just started heavily promoting it. I didn't know till you texted last night that it was like an actual live thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But that dominated social media last night. It dominated Netflix. People are still talking about it today. The roast of Tom freaking Brady. What a wild night. What a wild night. We're going to talk about that, talk about the NBA playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They advanced to the second round. Game 2 tonight. Everyone right now is starting to figure out who Anthony Edwards is.
Ant-Man.
And he's in action tonight. In fact, the 2 best players in the NBA, as far as the youth movement's concerned, probably going head to head tonight in Jokic and Anthony Edwards. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Tom Brady roast. We'll talk about the Cavs escaping Orlando. The Magic, of course, in the 7-game series. Kinner Kev, 1410, ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
Hey guys, don't be that dad without life insurance. Well, thanks to Ethos, you can be that great dad with life insurance to help keep his family living exactly like they do now, secure and protected in the event of the unexpected. With a fast and easy online experience, some policies as low as $1 a day and up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam, just a few health questions. Ethos makes getting life insurance protection hassle-free. E for easy, E for Ethos at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Visit us at Hollywood Gaming Dayton this spring for the playoff action and the return of baseball. We've got the biggest screens, the best food and drinks, plus we're giving away Penn bonus play and prizes to Penn Play Rewards members. Not a member? Join by downloading and registering for the Penn Play app from the App Store. Unlock the fun, including a chance to win up to $2,000 in pen cash. Make Hollywood Gaming Dayton your spring sports viewing headquarters. Must be in the state of Ohio to wager and over 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 or visit org.ohio.gov for help.
Did you know that although our name may be Carol Works Tire, we're more than tires? We're one of the leading service centers in the area, from personal vehicles to fleet maintenance. We'll keep you on the road. Come see us at Carol Works Tire. Did you know that Carol Works specializes in servicing mixed fleet vehicles? We keep your business moving by tailoring our service programs to meet your company's specific needs. Let us keep your fleet on the road with Carol Works Tire.
Urology Specialists of Ohio are here for you. Men, your good health is important to them. Their knowledge of specific male anatomy, prostate issues, and how to help healing is their main focus. Urology Specialists of Ohio are now accepting new patients at all locations: Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. They have been in practice for over 20 years with over 80 years of experience between 5 physicians. Call today. They can schedule your appointment in a timely manner with little wait time. Online at urologyspecialistofohio.com.
Folks, the Colonel here with Homestead Feed and Supply. You've asked for it, and the homesteaders, well, they went out and got it. Homestead Feed and Supply is now a full-blown Purina dealer. You heard that right. Homestead carries Purina feed products, including Fitter, Honor Show Feeds, Depth Charge. Heck, they've even got the Golden Ticket. Stop in to Homestead Feed and Supply, 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle, or visit the Homestead Feed and Supply Facebook page. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Benjamin Camara and Big Kev bring you Dayton's only local sports talk show dedicated to professional wrestling. Don't miss Cards Subject to Change. Every Thursday night at 6 p.m. right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on the iHeartRadio app.
And we are back. Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, about to wrap up number 2. 1410 ESPN Radio and Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. So we will be off tomorrow. No show tomorrow. You'll have off the bench tomorrow from 1 to 3. We'll be off. I have an off day tomorrow. I'm using that. I have no problem admitting that I'm taking tomorrow off to go golf at Muirfield. So no regrets. But we're golfing out there tomorrow at Muirfield. Will be my second time. I didn't put on a good performance last time. I'm hoping that tomorrow will be a different day. But yeah, I might be throwing Trace under the bus, but him and I are going to golf in that tomorrow. So I don't know if he told his guys why he's off tomorrow. I don't know if he, I'm feeling a little bit of COVID coming on, maybe a little sickness in the family. I don't know what I'm definitely throwing him under the bus. So my apologies, Trace, if you hadn't got all your ducks in order. But yeah, getting the chance to golf at Muirfield tomorrow. Pretty excited.
What did you shoot last year?
Not very well.
Will you do better this year than you did last year?
I parred the last hole, which was cool. That's like the iconic hole that you walk up on. Is all the fans are sitting there. There was no fans there, but in my head, I'm waving. I parred that damn thing. It was awesome. Oh yeah, the little Tiger Woods fist bump. So excited about that tomorrow. I think it was not a great score. I think it was like a 105 or something. Which maybe they were just being nice, but they're saying, hey, for just random Joes off the street, that's not a bad score for Muirfield. So I'll take it. I guess I'll take it. But
have no choice.
There's that. The Tom Brady roast last night. I didn't really get all excited about it going in because I thought, a lot of things with these, Tom Brady was the most protected quarterback in the NFL during his time. And I thought for sure he would be the most protected quarterback in a roast. I'm not going to lie. No one was safe. Nobody was safe whatsoever. And it was kind of refreshing. Look, I know we have to be sensitive to a lot nowadays, compared to in the past. But at the same time, when you were in a comedic setting, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. It was kind of nice seeing people not take offense to things, just having a little fun. No one was out for blood or anything like that. It was not lighthearted.
Yeah, you were out for blood.
It was cold-blooded. But no one was safe, from Kanye to Robert Kraft. To the ex-wife of Tom Brady. The list goes on.
Tom Brady
and
was
on.
not safe.
Tom Brady was hit more last night than his entire Patriots career.
Absolutely. So obviously, most of yesterday, I was so focused on the Cavs game that I actually forgot about it. And then, the day goes on or whatever. and I'm actually going to be going home to Cleveland for Mother's Day. So I start packing my luggage because I'm a super early packer. And then, you just randomly throw on Netflix just because you just need something on in the background as you're doing something around the house or whatever, because there weren't any NBA games on last night. And I was like, oh, that's right, this is on. So I turned it on.
Did you know it was live? Did you know it was
Yes,
live?
I knew it was
Okay.
live. I knew it was going to be live. And just Kevin Hart came out. He was the host. He came out the gate swinging like for the fences. I mean, Antonio Brown jokes about Giselle jokes. I mean, it was just everything was flying left and right. I mean, Gronk caught serious jokes. Kim K not only got booed, but she caught strays. Kanye caught strays.
Boobs. That's what I was yelling. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah. I mean, everybody got it. It was funny. Some parts were like, oh, I can't believe he said that. But I think probably the funniest person that I saw, I didn't watch the entire 3 hours. I watched maybe like an hour and a half. But I think the funniest person probably was Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe was up there hawking his
skits. I like the all right, hey, you're done. I gotta go with Tom Brady. I thought that was great.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
He played well into it.
Yeah, he was up there hawking his wine company, drinking that said wine, and like, talking about like, hey man, you stole my career. And then I actually saw an interview with him today. It's like, hey man, there's not too many things that I can joke with Tom Brady about, but him not being married anymore, that's one of them. Like, I can't tell him, I can't say I was a better quarterback than him, can't say I got more Super Bowl rings than him, but I can say that I'm still happily married. And that's what I went with. And they were just grilling him. And kudos to Tom Brady for, being up for it. I could never do that. Could you be a part of something like that?
I get made fun of every day.
Not in that realm though, man. This
is the guy that says he doesn't check social media, so clearly he has no clue when I set it up myself. But
those are from people you don't know. This is getting roasted from professional comedians. This is getting roasted by some of your former teammates and best friends in the world. Like, I don't think I can handle that.
So Jeff Ross, so that was cool seeing Jeff Ross there too, because when Dave Chappelle did his Dave Chappelle and Friends over in Yellow Springs, not last year, but the year before, my guy Kev Nash got a chance to see Kinner really hammered. So we went the first night, and so we went to see Dave Chappelle the first night, and then he had another show the next night. I was able to get tickets again, so I'm like, screw it, I'm going to go. But I knew Jeff Ross was going to be there, and I knew the night before Jeff Ross was calling people up on stage, and he was going to roast you because that's what he's known for. He's the ultimate roaster, right? Boom, roasted. So I told my buddy, I was like, I'm getting absolutely blitzed, and I'm getting on that stage. I am getting on that stage. Now, I was going to get on that stage to promote the show. Now, Kev was really freaking out when he saw how hammered I was, and I told him what my goal was to get up there. It was one of those, like, I could tell him and I weren't really vibing on that moment. So I'm like, well, I'm going to take my drunk ass over here and you do you. I got up on that. It was the coolest thing getting roasted by Jeff Ross. I thought that was the coolest thing.
And there's no way to communicate at a Chappelle show because they lock up your phone.
Like, no,
so I couldn't send them like, dude, don't do it. And I sure wasn't going to walk up there towards the roast. Like, oh, this is your friend. Come on stage too. No.
Yeah, and here's what this backfired. So the whole plan for the Jeff Ross part of the Dave Chappelle night in Yellow Springs was every time he would go to each individual fan that he brought up there and would say, okay, what's your name and what do you do for a living? So that's why when I heard him the night before, I was like, oh, that's great. That'll be great, because there was hundreds of people at this thing. I was like, it'll be great pub. Maybe some people don't know we have an ESPN radio station here, so there's a great opportunity to see the hammered mess that is Kinner up there. So here's the problem. This is where my drunkenness got in the way. When I walked up there with 7 cups stacked, because I wasn't putting my drink down. When I had 7 cups stacked, that's the only thing he noticed, and he just made fun of me for having this. I never got a chance to call out Kev Nash. I never got a chance to promote the Kinner and Kev show. I was just some random short 5'5" fat white dude holding 7 cups of beer standing up on stage. That's all I had to go.
Maybe that was for the best.
Yeah, well, I'm trying it again. So the reason I bring up Jeff Ross is because the only thing that pissed me off last night with all the stuff that was off limits, from Aaron Hernandez to Kanye, Kanye and Kim's kids, to everything. Tom Brady, the line that he drew in the sand was a joke about Robert Kraft, who had it coming. Like, I think that, look, I'm a Browns fan. Every time I try to say anything remotely positive about the Browns, massage guy, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's always everyone's come back. Like, That's like, you hear that constantly.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, he put himself in that spotlight he deserves all that criticism, whatever. Same thing with Robert Kraft. That's the problem that Tom Brady had with Jeff Ross when he goes up on stage and says, hey, cut that blank out or whatever. Like, that's out of everything that was said, that's what was off limits. I thought that was kind of wild to me.
Ross said he wanted to impregnate Tom Brady's sister, and he didn't say anything.
You got to, yeah. See, that's what was wild.
Your own sister.
To me, what that says is Robert Kraft didn't want to go. And Tom Brady said, no, you'll be all right. I guarantee you there was one rule, because Robert Kraft, people didn't really kind of go at him too much as far as anything like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the thing that got their attention. The other one I like, too, was the Tom Brady. They always ask you what your favorite ring, what was your favorite championship, what was your favorite Super Bowl ring? I always used to say the next one. Well, now that I'm retired, I always answer it with my favorite ring is the Ring doorbell cam of when Bill Belichick got caught leaving a woman's house at 6 a.m. earlier in the year. You didn't see that one? Oh, no, you didn't see that? My bad.
No.
You said you were going to go watch it later. I thought you saw that
no,
one.
no. Hey, it's still going to be funny.
But that was the best one. I didn't know about that. You know who I thought was a big winner last night, though? Nikki Glaser, for one. She's one of my favorite comedians. She killed it. She was one of the few people that no one had an issue with. But Bill Belichick came out smelling like roses and all of that, because we just know him as this cranky, on to the next one. I'm on to Cincinnati. I'm on to this. Like, the guy's funny. The guy has personality. The guy has, like, a lot more to him than what we do. Like, I think it's one of those things where I think you're going to see, I think that's why he's going to get hired as a coach again. I know that sounds stupid, but the perception of him has completely changed. Everyone knows the football side,
right?
But the personality side goes a long way. I think that's going to go a lot further in a locker room when he coaches again. Just people saying, oh, he is not just this old curmudgeon, as everyone likes to call him. He has a little personality to him. So we'll see what happens. But nonetheless, Cavs escape Orlando on our closing thoughts here of hour 2 and our closing thoughts on Chatterbox YouTube. Cavs escape Orlando. I was pissed with the way they started that game. I was really irritated because I was like, the Cavs went all in. This is why I feel bad. I appreciate that the Cavs went all in to go get Donovan Mitchell, and they have a very good roster. And I thought that, this year they didn't add a lot of big pieces in the offseason, but I thought year 2 in the development of the roster would take them to that next level. Well, they technically did. They escaped the first round. They win the 7-game series against Orlando, and Donovan Mitchell was a big part of, was the reason. 89 points in game 6 and 7 combined. He was the star that they brought him there to be.
Mm-hmm.
But will it be enough to get past Boston, Kev? Your thoughts? I know you touched on that against
No,
Orlando.
it will not. It will not be enough to get past the Celtics. But you know what? I don't care. I'm happy that the Cavs have made it to the second round. It went 7 games, something that it should not have gone 7 games with the experience that you have on that roster versus the experience that Orlando's had. You should have won in 6 games. But that being said, they handled business. Donovan Mitchell came to play not only in game 6, but also in game 7. So they're overdone.
All right. I'm excited for tonight. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. And
Rudy
Gobert is questionable. Just had the birth of his first child. So he is maybe not playing tonight.
Yep. They said that, due to personal reasons, and that might be it. So nonetheless. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us here on Chatterbox YouTube, on Chatterbox Sports on YouTube and ESPN Dayton's YouTube. And we'll be right back again on Wednesday. Again, no show tomorrow. You can catch Off the Bench with Trace and those guys. Well, no Trace, but Off the Bench tomorrow from 1 to 3, as well as 10 a.m. on Chatterbox, of course, as always. But we'll be back at it on Wednesday. So until Wednesday, it's been the Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio and Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. Hour 3 on the radio of Kinner and Kev coming up next.